to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kiru's show here. Now then, whenever we last left off, there has been a bit of a problem. All Might, he saved Bakugo from being infected, but in the process, he was hit in his hand. And he had a bit of a problem. His mind was racing as he was trying to figure out a good way to stop and save himself. Because if he gets infected, he doesn't know what's going to happen. Will he immediately try and take out Bakugo or take out Koda, or what's going to happen? As these thoughts were racing through his head, there is immediately just pain in his forearm as he sees something streak across his face, somewhat going black for a second, as he would have felt all the pressure and pain go away. Now, as that happens, All Might, he would hear a loud sound as he looks down at his hand. Except it's not there. He would look over at Bakugo as he just sees Bakugo just closing his eyes and just basically screaming at himself, telling All Might that he's sorry. As All Might begins to scream, he has just now realized that he's been screaming this whole time, but now that his thoughts are clear, he's able to hear himself again. Now, as that happens, this is whenever a pro hero, let's say Midnight, would actually come over to him. He's frightened and shocked that Bakugo just cut off Midoriya. Well, not Midoriya, but Bakugo just cut off All Might's arm, asking exactly what did he just do. Bakugo would explain what happened as Nighteye, he just looks down at All Might's arm, seeing that the infection is trying to eat it and take it over, but it dies, since it is not connected to a host. He would immediately turn around as he just tells him that he did the right thing, but right now they need to help All Might, as they would rush him over to the building and get a first aid kit, trying as much as they can to cauterize and stop the bleeding. Now, while that's happening, we have a bit of a problem. Momo and Kirishima, along with Kendo, they are carrying in the 3 new people they infected: Mina, Jiro, and Kaminari. They would toss them into the rooms as they actually do realize exactly how weird this feels. Being on the other side of this is a bit of a different experience, but that's not something to complain about. Now, as that happens, this is whenever Momo, she does turn to Uraraka and ask her exactly what they're supposed to do next, as she would try one thing. She would just tell them that she's got this handled as she would walk into the next room. She would sulk down to the floor for a second as she begins to breathe very heavily, somewhat panicking, as the voices began to come back into her mind. They were just screaming at her that she's not able to do this, she can't save him, and that he is going to be lost. The military is going to pick him apart like he is some insect or bug to be dissected. Even then, this is not going to work. The chances of getting him back, as she would just finally scream shut up over and over again, until Momo and Kendo would have finally walked in, and they just see her sulking with her head in her hands, crying. They would have asked her exactly what was she going to do, because Midoriya wouldn't want you to be doing this. Now, she would just say that she understands, but this is not okay. As they would watch her immediately stand up, composing herself, at least being a little bit more calm, as she would call the phone and put it on speaker. As soon as she does so, Overhaul, who is still working on his research, would pick up the phone, asking exactly what does she want. Listen, I have a bit of an incentive. Oh, really? Now then, what is it? Well, you see, we have a problem. Let me guess, you're gonna call to accuse me of turning in your boyfriend once again. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Listen to me. I should immediately explain that they have 3 people that are currently turning. The process takes a couple hours, and it's very painful for them. So, if he will at least do them a little bit of a favor, they know that he's been moving equipment outside. In fact, large quantities of equipment. She's talked to one of his men before about it, which is whenever he would immediately just say, "What do you mean by talked?" Exactly what I mean. I made a little bit of a offer, and he accepted. You turned one of my men without me knowing? No. I just gave him a little bit of a nudge. So, now, I'm just gonna get straight to it. As Momo and Kanda would immediately take notice of Uraraka's tone shift in personality. She would just say that the equipment that you're moving out of your base, it's been moving in large quantities and in large portions. In a truck. I don't know where that truck leads, because it goes across a bridge, into the red zone once again. Or at least, back into that other city. It goes through the red zone and comes out somewhere else, that's all I know. But, I need you to do me a little bit of a favor. In return, I will also have every one of us submit a blood sample, so that you know our various mutations. I'm fairly certain I can also call on my hunters for you to inspect. So, you're basically saying that I can completely observe you, see your mutations, and even dissect a hunter. I never said dissect, but if that's what it takes, then I don't care. Alright, as Overhaul leans back in his chair, asking exactly what is this favor. You create something similar to that cork juice that I know you make. Oh. How much information did this guy give you exactly? Enough. Only what I needed. Now. I didn't look into it too deeply, so you don't have to kill that guy. Beat him, I don't care. But even I think killing him would be a waste. A perfectly good meal if you ask me. Okay. I didn't, but that's still a bit creepy. Anyways, what exactly do you want me to do? I need you to create something similar to Cork Booster. Except for us. As Overhaul, he has his eyes immediately widen. You want me to find a way to enhance your abilities? Well, that's a bit tricky. But I would be willing up to the challenge. Good. Come over to the base and you will be able to inspect them. You may arrive now or within the last 2 hours. As Overhaul would say that he's on his way. As him and his men would immediately leave, coming over to the facility. However, she would have had to tell Shigaraki, which would have prompted Kirigiri to tell her that that was not a good call, or hers to make entirely. But if it means getting a member back, then it will work. So, what exactly do they need to do? Overhaul, he wishes he had more time. Let's give him that. As Overhaul, he is out at his car, after getting everything ready. The caretaker who takes care of Eri, they are the only one left at the base. So, they don't need to worry about her. Now then. With that being said, Overhaul, he's getting in the car, and as soon as they start driving, a portal would open up. which promptly gets his driver to hit the brakes, as Uraraka would walk out, motioning her hand behind her, telling him to let's go, as he would walk through. This is whenever All for One would be a bit surprised, saying that he's heard about him. Ah, yes. Pleasure to meet you. Well, not in person at least. Although I do have a good admiration for you. Kingpin of the underworld. So, he knows who we are. That's not good. As Shigaraki's scratching his neck. Now, he would look over at Shigaraki, and he would just think one thing. God damn, does that man need some chapstick. Now, he would just say that this won't take long. He has brought notes and whatever he needs, along with one of his men who at least help him in this field. Now, they would immediately walk over as they are observing the cells. And this would go on for quite some time, as he would also get the hunter that they were promised and the blood samples, as he needs these for his research. So, as soon as that happens, now, let us cut over to the heroes. They are having trouble, and they are in deep shit. All Might is still in the hospital. He has been recovering from this now, so it is not good at all. Sir Nighteye, he is more confused about the future, as talking to more of his military contacts in the support course, they were somewhat ready for some situation like this, which kinda confused Nighteye. They would have explained that after All Might lost a leg, they kinda started having predictions for what to do next, or at least what to make. So they made this, as they would wheel in the prototype for All Might, saying that this will work. They also did create an improved prototype for the leg. All Might, he would put on this big bulky arm, as he does feel it somewhat move and actually work a bit better, able to actually close and make fists with it and use it properly. Asking her if she can create something that can help him with his time limit. Yeah, we've been working on that and talking, but what? As All Might would just yell. May would just bring her hands up, saying that it's in the development phase. Even then, it's not really a good idea. I don't care. Well, can you at least create something to deal with this? As he would raise his shirt, showing off his injury. She would tell him that that is a bit different. That's already existing. They can at least try helping him with that, but even then, he'd probably have to go into surgery. Which, All Might, being reluctant, would just say that he can do that. As Recovery Girl and a couple of the doctors would have agreed. However, Nighteye, he would tell All Might that he at least needs to go a bit further. He can get into contact with some of the military contractors he's been talking to. They can help you by creating better versions, or at least finding organs that would work with his quirk, without them bursting accidentally. Now, All Might, he would just agree, as that is what Sir Nighteye will be doing. As he would bump into Endeavor in the halls. He would just ask Endeavor what exactly is he doing here, is he here for All Might? To which he would just say no. He's been a bit more paranoid. As he would watch Endeavor, his eyes immediately dart to the person walking next to him. As he would somewhat just turn, looking at them walking completely down the hall, and taking a right. As he somewhat sighs of relief, as he turns back to Nighteye, saying that the entire situation is shitty, and it's not easy to deal with. Sir Nighteye asking exactly what is wrong. As he would just do one thing, The fire completely dissipates around his face and on his hero suit, as people somewhat stare at him. He would just say that it's a bit more complicated than that. It's bad. As he would just walk over to a simple room, opening the door. As you see Todoroki on life support. Now, he's a bit more confused as he just asks exactly what happened. Endeavor would just explain. His bones are like glass, his muscles like sand, and half of his organs are barely functioning. But whatever is functioning is able to keep him alive. He's gotten a lot better. He's able to at least move his fingers. But as Nighteye would just say, can he use his quirk? To which Endeavor would just look up at him, saying no. He's given up on that. He's just trying to be here now. It really makes you think. I've tried talking to Ray, but I've sent Fuyumi. As he would just watch Endeavor's eyes somewhat tear up. As Fuyumi would walk into the room with Ray. To which Nighteye is somewhat shocked by. Even he couldn't have predicted this. As you see Ray somewhat just talk to Todoroki, asking him if he's okay. To which he would just move his eyes, looking at her, as he taps his finger twice. To which she somewhat smiles at. Now, while that's happening, let us cut over to somewhere else. Or at least at a different time. Overhaul, he has made a lot of progress. The information he's gotten, especially because all the different mutations that have gone through all these people, and taking blood samples while someone is actually being infected, it's insane. He's even been able to test healthy blood against infected blood, seeing exactly what can happen. Now, that being said, he has created this booster for the Blacklight, as Uraraka wanted. Now, he has made this booster just like Uraraka wanted, as he would tell her that this is version 1. It may not be as strong as you want, but it at least needs to be tested. To which she would say that is fine. However, what exactly is in that stuff that you've been sending over? Oh, well. If I tell you, you have to promise first off, not to kill me. Second off, not to cut me or hurt me. And third off, do not destroy the place. That did not answer any of my questions, but I will not hit you. Oddly specific. Anyways. That stuff I've been sending over, it's slightly corrosive. So it's been able to stave off your boyfriend. Stave off? It's able to hurt him enough for him to use biomass to keep himself alive. However, seeing as this stuff basically gets contaminated really fast, not sure how, that's still the part I'm trying to figure out, it takes a lot to keep that man down. The next shipment goes out in 2 weeks. But it should be a bit different now. As he would say that this time the liquid will not be corrosive. Also, he has somewhat gotten it to be a color. That should work. As he would say that this will prove that the booster should work. So either you can test it or you can get someone else to. As Uraraka would just walk into the next room, saying Rappa. Rappa and Kirishima are somewhat talking, as Rappa doesn't trust Kirishima, saying that even though he's a stupid hybrid of a Blacklight and a Quirk, that's no different. Most of the opponents go down with one hit, to which he would have responded by turning into his hardened state with the virus hardening his body also. To which Rappa, he would have been excited to see, as these two would be on even ground, with Kirishima just taking blows and punches from Rappa, while Rappa is just dishing them out and taking Kirishima's. With Rappa saying one simple line, "Damn, man, you're doing pretty good. Usually most of my opponents go down with one punch. Even then when they get back up, they just start praying for their lives. Well, I'm not some chump. So you're going to have to do better than that." Besides, as Kirishima would somewhat change his voice, "Don't take much to keep me down," as he somewhat looks confused for a second before getting socked in the face. To which Ochako would just laugh, as Rappa's asking what the hell just happened. Sorry, oh man. Kirishima, did you... What the hell? Why was I doing that guy's voice? What guy? I absorbed some weird guy earlier. He was a soldier, but I didn't expect to do that. As Uraraka is still dying of laughter, as Kendo would walk in asking exactly what happened. To which Uraraka would just say that he just mimicked the voice of a soldier he ate earlier. She's so happy she was around to see that. In fact, that might happen sometimes. So you gotta watch for that. To which Kendo would somewhat not believe, until he opens his mouth again and does the same thing. Now then, with that being said, for our newest recruits to the Blacklight family, Mina, Jiro, and Kirishima. Kaminari, not Kirishima. They are still in their cells. As Uraraka, she would have tossed in some regular people, telling them that this is going to be their food. Eat or die. To which they would have been reluctant until you know the story. Cut to a couple days later. Now, she would have walked in as she would talk to Overhaul, asking, Overhaul would just ask one simple question. How did the version 1 test go? The version 1 went fine, but it didn't last for very long. Kirishima felt his abilities get stronger along with his armor, but something happened. As soon as he went to go use his power, he felt himself get weaker, so it's a bit of a drug. Oh, sorry about that. Well, version 2 is on the table over there. Version 3 is in the process. Do you even know what you're doing? Well, I'm no expert, but I'm at least able and have done enough research to at least consider myself good. However, as he would just turn around saying that if they can get him a sample of a behemoth, or even something fresh from a behemoth, that he could try making and synthesizing something that's able to create enough biomass, or at least be thick enough for Deku to absorb. Basically, he can make a gel Deku can sit in and absorb to get stronger. Since he's basically going to be starved by the time you rescue him, this will at least give Deku the ability to fight in his own condition. But that's just it. I need you to get samples of every single thing in the red zone. Here, as he would just hold out a gun and some syringes, saying that these should work. Now, Uraraka, she's a bit annoyed as she would tell him that if she has to do this, she'll do it. But this is not going to be simple. Of course it's not. It's the red zone. But you're able to navigate your way through there. That portal guy gives you guys the edge. So, I'm trusting you to do this. Please. It will benefit all of us. As she would take version 2 and walk into the next room, asking Kirigiri if he can portal her out of there. As he would do so, Momo and Kendo following her behind. They would have gotten through the portal just before it closed. As they are in the red zone, they would just simply ask why they're here, as she would jump down to the streets below, smashing and actually landing on an infected. As she would just hold the gun outward, stabbing it into the man's neck. As they're a bit confused, they would watch her get up as she pulls out the syringe and goes to put it in her pocket. Momo would have jumped down and asked her exactly what that was. It's simple. Overhaul needs us to collect samples of the creatures here. So if we get them, we can help Midoriya. Well, why didn't you just say so? As she would create a box in her hand, saying that blood's going to get bad, or go bad if it's in sunlight for too long. Or if it gets too warm. To which she would just ask for the vial, Uraraka handing it over and Momo putting it in the box, as they were going to go hunt down some creatures. While they are on their little scavenger hunt, Sir Nighteye is talking with All Might, saying that they got the whole list figured out and it should take him a week to recover. But this is going to be a bit more different. They are only going to be able to replace the organs. The arm and the leg, however, that is going to be lost, since the ability to buff up and buff down may not transfer very well. To which All Might would just say that he doesn't care, as the doctor would do one simple thing, putting a mask on All Might's face as he counts down. 3, 2, 1. As All Might is being prepped for surgery. Now then, that is where I'm going to be leaving things off of, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.